Alex with LowKick MMA. I'm here with Orion Cosce, who makes his return on May 20th. Orion, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me today.
I'm good, man. Always, always, uh, always happy talking with you, man. I'm happy you're back. I did want to ask, how annoyed are you getting that everyone's calling you Koski?
I'm used to it, man. I mean, I used to get really annoyed back in like high school wrestling or like youth wrestling. But then I was like, you know what? It's okay. I can tell people my name is Orion Cosce, and they're like, all right, Orion Cosce, got it. And then later on, they're like, Orion Cosce, and I'm like, how do you forget it after you just read it back to me? You literally just said my name. But I'm getting used to it now. A lot of people mess it up, and I just sit there with a smile. And I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Oh, that's hilarious, man. 15 days out. How you feeling?
Feel great. Just can't wait to get in there. Always the hardest part is going to be the weight cut, no matter what. That's always hard. Um, but I'm feeling great. I'm feeling really good right now. Healthy, strong. Uh, some of the best shape of my life. So no more illnesses, no more injuries. We're going to go in there and we're going to be ready.
What went wrong with your last weight cut?
The weight just wasn't coming off, man. Ever since I got that COVID shot, the weight just did not want to come off the entire time. Uh, some people are like, "Well, are you sure it wasn't because you ended up getting COVID?" It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure because the weight was still coming off just fine before I got that COVID shot. Then I got that shot, but different bodies, different things, different experiences. I'm not saying it happens to everybody, but that was just my personal experience with it. And then I kept on getting sick or testing positive for COVID after I got it. So I just said, you know what? I find a way to get healthy again. And that's exactly what I did. I was sick for the entire holidays pretty much. And I wanted to fight in February, but my body just would not recover. I'd train for like 1 or 2 days and then I'd be sick for 3 or 4. And then I'd try to get right back to training, like one light training session and knock me out for a day. And I've heard a couple of athletes saying like they had the same thing happen to them too. So I'm not going to name drop them, but it's a couple other like, professional fighters or professional athletes, whether it be basketball, football, stuff like that. And I was just like, damn. So I got referred by my mother-in-law, fortunately, to just try it out. It was an IV, the Myers cocktail flush, where they just pump your blood, pump you full of vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. Have not been such since. So
Wow,
it's been a blessing. I
awesome.
love it. Definitely helped out a lot. And yeah, I'm back to my 2, 3 hard training sessions a day. Wake up with a little soreness, but I'm still able to get it done. I feel great.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. Thank you for sharing that, man. How's the married life?
It's good, man. It's good. I can't complain. This year, the game plan is to try to. I want to fight more frequently. That way, I can end up buying us a house in the Roseville Rockland region, or even like a condo. But we definitely want to travel too. So it's kind of hard to travel when you're just always busy with like work or fighting. And I already told the wife, hey, end of the summer, we'll go on a bunch of vacations. We'll get stuff done. We'll go to San Diego. I haven't been to Europe in a long time, so we're trying to plan a trip to Europe. So I definitely got to stay focused and dedicated when these fights and try to get some bonuses. So be ready for like a very explosive, looking to get the finish around.
How frustrating has it been not being able to fight as much as you're used to, man? You're used to fighting three, four times a year, man, and you've only fought once a year for the last 2 years. Like, how frustrating has that been?
Sucks. Honestly, I want to stay more active. I mean, we as fighters, we always want to stay more active, but I had to follow what my body was telling me. Obviously, I was supposed to have the Nick Dalby fight in November after the contender series fight, and then that fell through because of the neck injury with the nerve damage and all that stuff. And then I took the Phil Rowe fight a little too early, but you know what? I felt great, and then it just right arm shut down. Shit happens though. And then with the Blood Diamond fight, you just missed it by a pound and a half. The weight wasn't cutting, and managed to get the W. Wasn't able to get the finish like I wanted to, but was able to, go all 3 rounds. So all the people are there like, oh, he's gonna have a problem with his gas tank. We showed I didn't have a problem with my gas tank, and we haven't seen me at 100% since that Contender Series fight. So it's going to be nice to be able to get back in there. Like I said, I'm not undermining Gilbert Urbina whatsoever. I know he's very well rounded. He comes out very explosive, so I'm expecting him either to come out very explosive in the first round, but that's going to be to his downfall because in his previous fights, every time he does, he gets gassed very easily. Versus if he comes out trying to keep range and try to counter, and then uses wrestling to try to control the time and go the distance. So there's one of two variations of Gilbert I'm looking forward to. But fights are all like chess games, except for everything's happening at the exact same time. All the moves are taking place at the exact same time. So I'm looking forward to it, though.
Coming up on a year since your win over Blood Diamond, now that you've had a lot of time to reflect on it, how do you feel about that performance?
For how I was feeling, I was happy to get the W. I mean, everyone he was even talking about it, they're saying Orion does not look good. Something happened with the weight cut. He must have been sick. And then the doctors, they were trying to pull me off the card. I was puking and shitting during the hydration period right after. And I almost got pulled off the card by my team, my manager. And then, I was like, no, don't pull me off. Like, I'm going to go out there. I'll win. Like, don't worry. I'll win. And then they had that second round stare where he got me right in the floater rib and I felt it move out of place. And then when he went to clinch up with me, it moved back into place. So I was like, thank you. But that was like the one shot that actually like hurt me, was that knee to the floater rib. But then when he grabbed me and I felt it pop back in, I was like, okay, cool, we're good to go again. But yeah, the head kicks and all that stuff, they didn't really hurt. Like, we talked about it afterwards. I was like, dude, I was more surprised that he caught me with those. I was like, I wasn't expecting them to come at all. I was like, those were little like nice kicks. And so I asked him how he did it, and so I've been practicing that a little bit. We talk every now and then. Blood Diamond's a really cool dude. So I'm hoping he gets to get back in the cage, and instead of being like, with a wrestler or a grappler, he's able to go in there with, another striker.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So Gilbert Urbina, you've kind of already kind of broke him down a little bit, but when they offered you the name, what do you think of the matchup?
Oh, I always say yes. I just say yes. I don't even look up who the person is. Because, I mean, why should I look at a matchup and be like, oh, I don't know, like the wrestling might be too good or the striking might be too good? It's like, bro, I'm in the fucking UFC. If you're a fighter in the UFC and you're turning down a fight because of the matchup, like you don't like it, like what was it? They wanted me to fight one of my friends, and the only reason I said no to that is because A, I was still recovering from being sick, and B, it's like me and this guy used to train together. And it'd be kind of awkward when he was also cornering a bunch of the guys that I can train with. But it's a little weird how they did all that stuff. But the UFC's been doing that lately too, where they're trying to get like friends matched up against each other. That way, there's like that drama with like because the WWE merger and all that, which is fine. I respect it, but just tell me a name. I'm just like, I don't know who this guy is. Yeah, cool. Like, let's do it. Like, they're not my homie. So I'm thinking, like, if you're going to fight your friend, if it's in the UFC, you do it for better money. You don't do it for, like, your first contract. You do it on, like, your third, fourth contract. You do it when you're, like, both trying to be like, hey, like, we're trying to be top 15 and no one else is accepting fights. So you're like, you guys kind of have to if you want to move up in the rankings. I understand it then, but super early on, and it's not worth it. But other than that, though, they toss out a name like shit. They wanted me to have my first fight against Nick Dalby, and the first thing I told Jason, I was like, "Oh yeah, brother, let's do it." He's all, "No, brother, like make sure." I was like, "I don't even know who Nick Dalby is." I was like, "Just sign me up, like do it." He's all right. Before I say anything else, just look him up really fast. I looked him up just to appease him. I was like, "All right, brother, like I said, just sign me the fuck up." He's like, "I love you, brother. Good." He's like, "I love hearing this." So, you know, and we've seen it to where it's like I fought tall fighters, and people will say like, oh, like, well, what about when they have like a longer reach than you? It's like, well, I'm gonna always have to deal with that. I don't have these long ass arms like everyone else does, or long ass legs. I'm 5'11" and my reach is 71 inches. Like I got average reach for my height.
Right.
Whereas all these other guys, you know, they'll be like 5'9", but have like a 76-inch reach. And it's like, how do you have those arms? So to me, it doesn't really matter too much who it is, where it is. I'd like to fight just on the West Coast a couple of times versus, you know, traveling somewhere that doesn't have a sauna.
Mm,
But I would definitely, after a couple of fights, like to travel overseas and fight overseas.
gotcha. Awesome. Awesome. Who are some of your main training partners this camp? Same crew?
Same crew for the most part. It's been more at just back to like white belt mentality, just focusing on individual wrestling, individual boxing, kickboxing stuff, individual grappling, and then putting it all together as well. But going back to my old school style of training that I had originally in order to make it to where I can do more sessions without the wear and tear. So my recovery feels great. The weight cut's going well. And yeah, but for this one, I definitely am utilizing my boy Luke Brewer because he's super tall, super lengthy. Like he's way taller than my opponent, has a longer reach than my opponent by, let's see, I think Gilbert Urbina's reach is what, 75 inches,
Mm-hmm.
and my boy Luke, he has a 82-inch reach. So definitely helping out there. And then my striking coach Ezra Regan, Um, he's tall and lengthy as well, so doing mitts with him has been, you know, a godsend for this fight as well. Working on a lot of dynamic stuff that works well with my wrestling background. And then he brings people in that are also tall and lengthy, just like big heavyweight guys, like, you know, 220, 245, stuff like that for me to work with. That way I have bigger bodies. Force me to move around a little bit more, you know, making it to where I'm not getting hit. So head movement's a lot better as well. So you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna see a new and improved version of Orion Cosce out there looking to get a fast finish.
Awesome. Did you do any work at Team Alpha Male this time around?
Just a little bit. Most of my camp has just been kind of in house for me. So I've gone down there a couple of times, done some sparring, done some training. Um, wasn't down there this morning, but I got mitts today and then running right after. And then I'll be back in there on Monday and Tuesday. Uh, Maybe on Wednesday. They have sparring on Wednesdays. So if anything, I'll just go in there and drill. I'm not going to spar next week. That way I don't risk anything. And then just go from there.
What do you think of Song Yadong's win over Ricky Simone, dude?
Uh,
That dude
yeah.
is humongous.
Yeah. That was awesome to watch. Song's a really cool dude. He works really, really hard. And he, you know, he fought a very game Ricky Simon, but Song has that power. And it's one of those things where it's like, he had Ricky backing up a lot more than Ricky it like tends to back up. So
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, at the end of the day, May 20th, how do you get your hand raised?
I think I'm gonna get a knockout or a submission. I'm gonna get a finish either way. I want that 50K bonus, and then I want to fight again 2 weeks after. So game plan is go in, take zero damage, get out, and tell the UFC, give me another fight, give me another contract, and let's have fun this year.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. I did want to ask, your brother was released. I just wanted to know what were the emotions like when you got that news?
It sucks to hear that, you know. I remember hearing about it. So the first thing I said, I was like, hey, it's all good, bro. Like, you know, that last performance wasn't you. You went out there, just didn't feel like that was you fighting. Felt like a shade of you fighting. And so hopefully we can get him back to it. He fights at A1 for Uriah Faber's A1 over at the Hard Rock near Sacramento. So he's gonna fight a guy, Buddy Wallace. He had the call up, but something happened with his medicals to where he wasn't able to actually get the call up or something like that. So hopefully Lewis goes out there, beats the dog piss out of this dude, and gets back in the UFC so that Cosce Bros can be back at it again.
Love it. I love it, man. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. If you want to plug your social media, any sponsors you might have, and if you want to thank anybody, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Galaxy Cosce. You can also follow me on Twitter, I guess. I talk a bunch of shit. I'm just trying to get canceled on all my social media, honestly, dude. I have no filter. I don't care about your feelings. I really don't. I don't care what you prefer yourself as. But I mean, I'm just gonna speak the truth. I'm gonna speak my truth at least, and if you don't like it, that's on you. Like I said, I don't care. And then, yeah, for sponsors, I want to thank Canadips. I want to thank my management, Iridium. So Jason and Jacob, thank both those guys for all they're doing for me and helping me, you know, with getting these fights and getting the stuff that I need to replenish and refuel. Um, yeah, my boy Louise, thank you for all the support that you've given me and my brother in the past and currently. And then I definitely just want to thank all my teammates, my coaches, and everyone who loves and supports me. To all the people who don't, fuck you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.